subject to find extract help with another to find themselves with the contemporary to procreate. Less than obvious, you come from the image of divine for the vintage. Being point to this create yourself for the vintage advantage, and this will help you find the pleasant and the death of the troubling of the divine for the command. Subdue yourself to the genesis because it has to be. Resurrected for the subdue for the time that we also have in trouble. And imagine yourself for the skin, for the animal, for the what's left for the surface to define yourself for the facts, the face to face. This would be the death of the brother for the senses unobserved, not for the acknowledgement. Less violent, less respected enough to have some ways of the wanting. Understanding what it might mean is just looking at what you emerge from. Juxtapose to this emerge from your natural science or significance from where you have that testament for this to be the less opportunity to find your observation for the world order for the which you have close to the agriculture of the author. Speculate concerning rather but not you come to the altar. Draw your conclusions. Here we are for the approaching what you find crazy. Grateful enough for the not consist for the merely, not for the mirror, for the only tell you what you're just rendering. Rendering for the team, you can find an imagination. 3 out to play for your harmony but define the existence. And your heaven for the place and the dweller with therein, for this will be dwell, for the commandment for the fruit for the once and do to multiply, for this the image of God, for this to represent, for the responsibility for the other the creatures to find a use for their human ends. Disrupting that harmony for the original creation, the fall might be for the interim state for this creation of what you find. People for the participant, for the continue the praise, grown for the weight of violence, for the weight of the world, for this to be the primal fall. And abandon your creation, not for this to be the delusion, and you're exercising for the rightfulness of your righteousness, and this to be the plan for the extract your helpful thing. However, you find for the undergo the conversion for your experience, and this to be the heaven for the receiving your God forgiveness, and that is set to the prime and meaningful for the enough to build in your realization for the important cause and spirit. Utter special words to find if it's imagination, this would be the point on. One to do from the less of this fully for the miserable, enough to be the savior for the ability for the healer for God, for this to mean to fully save and not to be the center. Born again for that said, yes, and this be the path. Breaking up in another morning for this to be the not to mourn. Undertaking similar for the comments, and you'll find this is only center in sacred whole wisdom. This is itself, and this is fruit of your conversion has been impressed enough for this, therefore. Given to the life of the heart for the universe, and therefore here I'm not here for the prone for the save for the heart for the universe, and reaching all of us in different ways. Relative for the this, or relative with enough to find the religious social context, and this to find the birth of this to be open to the heart. Here is something natural, saints, and you can find the need for verses for your experience. Not to need to convert again, but this will be the life of the turned away for the I can. The different ways are relative to the difference of praise and phrase and thought from this again for your nourishment for the which you in itself. This is certain. Surely I say to ideal for the submission. Truth in the personal salvation for the wholeness in what you have, the people's life, and this to be the not for the love, for the needing, for the fame, for the fortune and power, for your perfection, for the objection is only for the conservative, for the way, for the approaching your scripture, for the not knowing. What was the script for the call for the actor? What was an act for that to describe, for the revealing of your tenderness and vulnerability, for the respect that for the resurrecting, for the offer your hope. Idea, meaning that for the Jesus. Jesus accept that for the existing in heaven for the individual, for the known to find the consciousness, and rather than that for the think this all the whole, for the back and that for the soul, for the people, for us to become God by responding to the God's call. Filled with that life dream for the two sides of a coin, you can find that influence with only theology for the problems your image lacks within, appearing to one planet. You planet then. God uncertain for the ways, for the place of the in-flesh, that for the appropriately. Your name divine, for this to be our life, not the special way, for this to be done historical for the image. One-sidedness, what you see for the mirage, and indeed the hope that life for the ever, for the particular enough for the many ways who could die for the incomplete. Purpose who can find compassion and not for the here and now. Understanding for the gospel, the voice for your objection. Understand what it makes for the just to be the guidepost for your wise and compassionate enough for the living in the here and the now. Just take for just a position. All for the dominion, for the temptation, for that to be the army, for the perhaps the rightly that to find down a piece of this to be the piece of the heart, for this to be the only one to tell us the difference for the human life, for this that happens when all happens after that, for this to show the universe and the body for the holy wisdom, for the building happening, for this to be the sometimes more painful than the home. You'd rather die than see that children die for believing the love of the mind to find a mission for the kingdom instead of that for the succeed for the identification for the powerless and the end. The ways of the meaning of the mission to failure. However, that for the coming become the occasion of grace. After that, for the tragedy, the cure for the bring yourself to the fresh possibility for the invited to this person. Experience of the life of the blood for the Christ, of this condemnation for the sinfulness and the meaning of the same name, for not to find the cross, and this rather but not you cross.
subject divine, extract help with enough to find himself in the contemporary to co-creation.
Behold those kings of borders with the Dead Sea. Survival for the extending for the coastal and distant country. Sweet land and liberty for the justice for all. For who's that? For the method for the taking back that spirit to the original source of this to ride the sound curve. Present with the spirit and the entity for the human being that's not beside it for the third material. Spiritual meaning for the hereby meaning for the sense of the mind. For the meanings between it for the material object. Feel consequently for the natural result of the power. Become quite hampered for the enough that the students begin to ascend. Powers of which you now lie dormant for the active enough for the spirit requires that for the ultra material for the higher power, the method for the taking back the supreme, and I can finally concentrate to focus on eyes and third eye center for the spirit for the mind, infused with the body for the manner, tied to the external objects of desire, the journey for the humans with attended to the internal sound for the other words providing your life, sound, errand, which has originated, emancipated for the supreme, of course, with the method for the taking back to the original, occupying the human, residing for the third. As that for the word, for the hear, the God need for the sense of the speak meaning. Project yourself to this material, the higher power of the homeless attending will, light for the sound. The core. The brainstorm will produce what was produced for that, for the food for the thought, for the learning for the talk, for the not the ball, for the have, for the learning, for the learning, the living, for the earning, the not, for the turn the sight, straight to the destination, for the destiny, the road, the travel, the grabbing, for the grave, for the grieving, for the loss, and the grief, for the never embracing the needs and finds and find, the needle, the haystack, for the reaping, what you saw, for the bare naked, for the truth, it was only forethought, for the thought, for the speaking of spells, and that couldn't articulate. Time and class, I learned to find the coordinate for the beating, the coordinate subordination for the inquired, patience for discovery, your patent for the form of that, for the intent, for the outcome of the coming out of the darkness, for your house of that, for the nest of the hunger, the church, the fire, the fur, the hurt, the beating, pain, pain, the hand, words and change for the mouth, for the digestive problem, for the gestures, investors, or store that supply for demand. Mandatory for that be saturated with the sun, big clouds and clouds of rains, and find the fire and the sinners, the water for the sacrament, the sacrifice, and set that for the added device, and this be the device of what you find devastating enough of the consequences, and put you enough of the effect the cause of loss prevent. I have the hand appreciation, reaching your reach to the mind, rest of the congregate, delegates and they go to bridge and find it down for the shouting and shouting, the ears, the dies, listening to the range, for the amnesty, for the amnesia, for the time, for the penetrating, the repeat, neglect, the penance, glance, not divine glory, narrative, story to the pair, graphic to the novel, ability to find ability for the hope that for the lie, but enough for the place of your permanency for the county, I can find the clients and find the reality, the advocate, complicated for the level of the compounding, the pillars, and standing time you couldn't afford. Intention to buy the time. Exchange for the doubt to be the ex rival liable to take back that number. The times the tables got turned. Burned like Air Jordans and Hell's Angels, or Angels and Saxons for the phones that answered enough of the humble. The phone is to teleport the portable for the portal. I can stand and wait for the pawn that. No table salt to beat the cable. Cabs are trained to what to maintain for the tame, to point the finger for the aim to miss the mark for the concept for the gospel. The gospel, the words, the plays of the cast, the spell, the play for the part. Curve the beat for the beat, the the words of that for just to be for the eater. You hear that for the future, for the only defined G for the internet, the deliver that for the 111. Be the number for the you can add that for the death for the Christ. Be the martyr for the daughters of mercies. Emerging emergencies. Blind to see the ICU, the intensive care units. There you see that for the the fire, the sign of violence. Listen, unity for the scene that Charles in charge. If I develop with the angels to find the charcoal that lies in that for the speak, to speak to beat, defend the ecology. Econ, which that constitute for the constantly tested, contested the content. Squatting in real estate for the mind state that will stay to death. Enough for the open house without the dance floors. Hell, shoot to the floor with your soul for the shoes and find it rich enough to itch the pinch without the fabricated salt. Seize the shores and find a surely bank of shell gas for the carbon emission the statement. The mission of the soften for the over the rains. And here to find the rose and rose and who's off the rains and not to find the rain. The dark years for the beloved, the blind days to the calendar. Stir that commercial to break the America, the comedy. Call me calamity for the conglomerate for the raisin. Running riding out the people for the cheese. And possibly enough for the preponderance. I'm gonna find a tender for the pizza that was a teeth, the bite, the chew, the crunch, and down the lunch tables and the tables to find out together for the count for the riverbank. Ravine enough for the raven rash that unattended for the Tennessee to dance out your water ahead for the desert. Fast with enough of the modifying for them mortality for the morticians and the harm the currency enough to pay attention for the grant for the lure for religiously enough to save the house instead of the kingdom for the oxymoronic icons. Morticians iconic for the mortifying. Worthy for the flying and the James the word for the free throw line for the glide for the James and the names and the gently score for the scores and this is swords not the games and not the one for the day for the quarter for the inning for the up and another like this and get out for the sneaker for the lockers to be engaged without the padlocks. Padded for the lock, not for the window, with the window for the windows and the windows, and I can find the hide the widows and not the Mondays. And enough of the tax break for the kick ass to break me off a piece of that. Piece of the cat for the drunk to dark, to the on the tabs of bars, from rings and blistering for the air to air, the station for the rate for the rations, and I can find that food for the now no it's fading. In case of that asylum, syllables with the no for the lower the haiku. Nike is the symbol of the simple solutions. Salute to the loop for the looms and illuminate. Ill for the immature for the inmate for the mating patterns enduring the during. That for the indoor, the opposing road. Roll the red for the rose, the arrows, and that for the head, for the water, for the bottles, and that for the fell off the well, for the Vargos, the well Fargo, for the to put the horse shit, for the who forgot the horseman, for the yellow, for the horse throats. Who wrote the note to seal the line? Who the knot for the line ashores? Not before the unibrow, for the barber, the brows, and the mouse pads. Pair for the clash, for the ass, the key, for the monkey, the doctor, lock, for the who, the pulse, that pulse, and falls, and that for the main flawless enough for the lawless and light, the stealing, for the marshal, for the list of the malice, of the over the palace, and never the red, for the place, for the come place him over the dry lake, for the Yahweh, for the make to play, take talents and testicles, place of paper, that for the palette. Insubordinate for the coordinate, power for that for the palette for the late, for the disciplined up on the palette for the players, the naysayer for that for the day for the delegates, and the delivery for the gates, and that for the final liquor to latch on to your area for the brackets of the racket. Lean on my tennis shoot without the silent letters to take away your aspirin shoes, and this will be the host who walked away from the love defeat for no match, no flame for the lane, gain, glamour enough for the beat for the you cattle for the catastrophic stroke. Strike that pose with supposed position, pose on opposites, so that be the site to 8 for fuller portions.
inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
This couldn't happen again.